Elation. Ironically, I had a fantasy football draft right as like a half hour after it dropped. So I know we were talking about, is it coming out Friday? Is it coming out Thursday? I was expecting it to come out relatively soon after he was arrested. So timing worked out. But I don't know, John. I was a little naive. I tweeted about it because for some reason I thought he would try to play it off. Like he would smile, look confident, do his little thumbs. Like I know obviously his fingers won't be in it, but I just thought he would play it off like everything's okay, this is all good. He looked pissed. And I'm glad it was that. It was really worse. Someone commented and I agreed. It was worse. It's the worst thing possible for him, but at the same time, the best case scenario for us because it's worse than we could ever imagine. So I'm very elated at that. I'll be honest, John. I'm gonna bring it back to you in a second. I'm gonna paint a picture for you. Do you remember? I know we've been in a couple rallies together, but the rally after he was elected. So November 2019 or 2020, I should say. Sorry, no, sorry, 16. Sorry. Um, he was elected on a Tuesday. It didn't draw out. They called it that night. Me and you went downtown on Saturday. I don't know if you remember this, and it was an anti-Trump rally. It was all across the country, and we were a part of it in Chicago. And we were talking. I'm like, we were both still in shock. And I told you the only way that this ends right is if he pays for the crimes that he did. Because we knew even before January 6th, before all of this stuff, we knew the Russia link and we knew all the past history of the corruption that he's been a part of. And this was closure, I think, for me personally. Like, there's still, he might be found not guilty. He might be do more crimes. He might be the president again. For me personally, there's four indictments, and the mugshot was like, okay, that settled that chapter for me. A little part of me healed. We just need one of the convictions out of the four. We feel strongly about all four. We just need one of them, especially the big three. So I'll pitch it back to you. Do you remember that time? And do you remember that conversation? And do you think about that stuff now, or is it like too big to even imagine?
Well, don't forget with Russia, it wasn't until the Steele memo came out, which was actually that the following January, that we started really seeing stuff. So I remember that conversation, but if we're really being honest, that conversation we were having was that's a dirty MFer, and we know there's something that he's done something corrupt. We did not. I don't think anyone could really at that point articulate what it was or what the multitude of things would be. One, it does appear, and even though people, I do agree with the people who say that as history goes on, we'll find out that the Russia thing was not a hoax, and that there was a lot more there. And I think it's just that's something that history will tell us, not something that'll be told in the short term. So I remember that conversation, but I think that's the wishful thinking. The same wishful at that time was wishful thinking. The same wishful thinking that Republicans would have about, you know, Biden, Obama, Hillary. You know, don't forget they were chanting "lock her up, lock her up, lock her up." So I think I agree with you, but I remember that, but I think it was wishful thinking. But I want to go back to the mugshot and something Joy Reid said, and I think what has to happen with our pundits, our talking heads, our the people who really uh uh what's the word I'm looking for? The people who really sometimes speak on the times. Um I really like what Joy Reid said about the meaning of the mugshot. And I think the thing that frustrates me about the way that the press covers Trump and the way that the press covers the prospect of Trump being held accountable for crimes he is obviously been indicted for and he most likely committed is they're always saying, well, this is unprecedented. No president's ever done this. They're always saying, well, he's a sitting president. He doesn't need a mugshot. And how would people react? They're so concerned with how people who support him will react. And they don't realize that there's a significant number of people, I'd say a far more. And I'm not talking about the entire group of people, but I'm talking specifically about marginalized groups, black folks, other, Latinos, whomever, who even poor people, even poor white people, who pay a much bigger price during pre-trial. Not even saying I'm not even going to get the conviction yet. And when the Republicans have the audacity talking about Hunter Biden and talking about two tiers of justice, it's so insincere, and more people got to call them on. First of all, it's two tiers of justice, right? The fact that Trump could be uh indicted four times, and it wasn't until his fourth indictment that he got a mugshot. It wasn't during his fourth indictment that he remotely got treated like a prisoner. However, he was still able to lie about his height and weight, right? Because it was not checked. um you know, when you talk about two tiers of justice, and one of the articles that I read last weekend, and I'm not sure if I shared it with you, talking about going back to the Hunter Biden story. Hunter Biden is being charged with crimes that most Americans, when they commit, if they pay back their taxes like he did, they don't face charges. So um, the mugshot, for numerous reasons, very mostly symbolic. I think it was important, and while they're saying, and I hate the fact that the press is buying the spin of, well, he doesn't mind, it gives him a way to raise funds. Yeah, he might be making lemons out of lemonade. I mean, making lemonade out of lemons, but at the end of the day, Bill Clinton doesn't have a mugshot. Barack Obama doesn't have a mugshot. Hillary Clinton doesn't have a mugshot. Joe Biden is having a mugshot, and quite frankly, despite all the trouble he's been in, I don't think I've ever seen a Hunter Biden mugshot. Um, so I really think that the symbolism and where it'll fall in history of the Biden of the Trump mugshot is going to be huge.